Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muygech. I'm an architect. It's my great honor to be here today, to be the only female speaker. Right? Thank you for the round of applause. Today, I'm glad to be here to talk about the topic that I really cares about, and I hope you do too. So the topic today is why design really matters for our indoor generation. Before getting started, can I ask you, how many of you have heard of the word indoor generation? No one? Oh, I got 2 here. Do you really know? Oh, 3? Okay, thank you for raising your hand. So look like the topic is not really familiar with you guys, but I hope you enjoy my talks. So today's topic is about our indoor generation. Since you don't really know who is indoor generation and what I refer to, before getting started, let me ask you another question. How many of you have this kind of daily routine life? Like getting up in the morning, grab your breakfast or coffee, head to school or office, and then you work or study the whole day, and then probably hit the gym a little bit for exercise, and then head back to home and scroll your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix, and then when you get tired, you go back to sleep. How many of you? If you're going not to raise your hand, I'm going to ask you how you're going to live your life. So basically, majority of us is living this kind of lifestyle. So if you look at the diagram, so meaning you will leave home to the office or school, and then we go to the gym for exercise, and then probably go to the restaurant and coffee shop for hangout, and then we head back home to sleep and rest. So from home to school, from school to gym, gym to restaurant to office to coffee shop, and then back home. So can you roughly count how many hours per day did you spend indoor? When I say indoor, it's not only in your house. In any building that an enclosed space with 4 walls. Can you roughly count? I give you 3 options. A, less than 8 hours. B, 8 to 20 hours. And C, more than 20 hours. Okay, let's do one by one. A, how many of you? For those who raised their hand, how many hours per day did you sleep? Maybe you sleep for 4 hours and then go to school for 4 hours and then the rest of the day you spend outdoor? No, not really, right? Okay, how about B, 8 to 20 hours? Okay, some of us, how about more than 20 hours? Indoors, meaning at home, at school, at office, at gym, restaurant, all counted. Okay, so this is the research. Look like majority of us spend a lot of time indoor. So according to indoorgeneration.com, on average, we spend more than 90% of our time indoor. For me, apart from the time I'm traveling to places, I stay indoor. So now I think you kind of get what is indoor generation is about. So this is indoor generation. Have you saw this joke before? Do you think it's true? Yes, I found it on internet. So 20 years ago, parents want their kids to spend more time outdoor and indoor because we spend too much time outdoor. Maybe we like playing football, something like that. But today, 20 years later, today, their parents want their kids to spend more time outdoor because they don't want their kids to spend too much time on the screen. Like the Alpha generation, they know too much about the screen. So to abstract their children from their smartphone, tablet, laptop, from video game, watching YouTube, play mobile phone, they want their kids to spend more time outdoor. So basically, indoor generation is the one who spend too much indoor, like us, and probably the coming generation as well, right? Agree? Yes. So have you noticed that where we live today, when the room is dark, what do? We sleep? How about if you want to work? You have to turn on the light. And when the air inside our room smells bad, what do we do? So how many of you open the window? How many of you spray the chemical to make it smell good inside your office or inside your home? So what happened today is that when the space is dark, we turn on the light. And when the smell inside the room is bad, we spray the chemical. So according to indoorgeneration.com, the research showed that indoor air is 5 times more polluted than the outdoor air. Did you know that? Yes? You don't agree with the research? So research also noticed that the kids' bedroom is often the most polluted area inside the house because they have a lot of toys that contains the bacteria for a long time without washing. And the kids easily got sick. Some of them easily got allergy or asthma. That's why kids these days is quite weak for their house. If someone inside the house is sick, they easily got affected as well because the air inside the house is not well ventilated. Moreover, the research also showed that lacks of direct sunlight can cause vitamin D deficiency, which leads to the feeling of tiredness, fatigue, and low mood. Maybe that's why we got depression, right? No? Yes. This also the contributes of our living environment. More importantly, the result of poor air can provoke a whole range of illness, starting from headache, sore eye, to allergy, asthma, and worse. That's what we don't really know where we are living today. So, do you think that you are living in a healthy living environment? You are not sure, right? Because let me bring you back to 100 years ago. Now let's traveling through the time. Okay, this is our vernacular architecture, our traditional Khmer house. How many of you have been to this kind of house before? No? Really? You don't have grandparents' house? Okay, the only time that I went to this kind of house is when I was young. Sometime now, not really often. But when I was young, I'm not really studying architecture yet, so I always wonder why this kind of house is well ventilated. Like at night, they don't really have to use aircon or fan. How can they live without aircon and fan? I cannot live without aircon and fan. I'm not going to sleep well at night. But in this kind of house, if you go to sleep at night, it's quite well ventilated and it's not hot. So you look at this kind of house, you notice that the house is sitting on the columns. So the ground floor usually serves as the common area. So their neighbor can drop by and have a small talk, and sometimes they can gossip about someone in the village. Right? Did you do that? And the house is surrounded by plants, and it looks quite heartwarming, right? And if you notice the window here, they use the louvre, even the door. You know louvre? It's pearl in Khmer. So the louvre allows the air and the light to get in, but it doesn't allow the direct sunlight, so the heat cannot trap inside. Now let me bring you a little bit technical about this house. This is the section of the house. So you see this is the column, and they have the floor and the roof. I think it's a bit technical, but I hope you understand. So what happened? Why we raise the house on the column? To let air to get from the ground floor, right? Wow, that's very impressive. And one more thing is about prevent the flood. When in the past we have a lot of flood, right? So what's good about this house is that they allow the cold air to get from the bottom part. It's called stock ventilation. So you know that the floor is made of ronier. They have the hole, so the floor can get from the ground floor to the top. And in physics, ground floor, cold air will stay and hot air will rise. So basically, they only trap the cold air and the hot air will escape. So one more thing is they have the louvre windows and the louvre door, which allow the air cross-ventilated quite easily. And we don't really have a lot of wall inside the house. That's why it's well ventilated. But now, let me bring you back from 100 years ago to today. So this is the old version and the new version of a shop house. How many of you living in shop house? Not many. I think you are generation Alpha, because I was born living in this kind of shop house. If you look at the shop house, they still use this kind of louvre for doors and window. And on the top of door and window, they also have louvre. So the hot air still can escape and the light still can get in. But look at our new version of shop house. I'm not trying to criticize the design, but that's because all design cannot catch up with our modern living lifestyle, right? But now we replace by glass. So you try to imagine our shop house. It's 4 by 16 or 4 by 20, right? It's a long and narrow. So you have the opening on the front and opening at the back. So the light can get in from the front and from the back. But in the middle part, it's usually dark and stuffy. That's if you notice it. And what happens if you try to use this kind of banner on the front elevation? You don't even have space for air to escape, not the light to get in. So what happened to the space inside? It's dark and stuffy. Is it where you think that it's healthy to live in? Yes or no? No. But this is where majority of Cambodians is living in, right? Agree or disagree? Agree. Thank you for answer. So let me give you one example of how we can change the shop house. This is one of our projects. So this is a typical shop house. It's a bit technical, but I want you to imagine that you cut the shop house into the half. So this is the front elevation, and this is the back elevation. So what I did to this project is I opened up the middle part. I give a large stair. One problem of our shop house is the stair is very steep, but this project I tried to make it bigger and open up the middle of the house and make it become an internal courtyard. So the hot air can rise in the middle of the house, and in the front and the back too. I'm not going to block the front elevation in a way. So this is how air ventilated from one floor to another floor, and how the hot air rises, and how you can get all the light inside the building for each floor. So back to the question, why design really matter for our indoor generation? I think my answer to this question will be, what we design us back. The meaning is very straightforward, right? How many of you get the meaning straight away? Raise your hand, please. Oh, only a few. Okay, if you don't really get what it means yet, let's go forward. I'm going to conclude at the end. So what we design us back. Let me give you some more examples of the design that I think is a good design. So if you look at this kind of house in the picture number 1, it's also a shop house, but they can get enough lighting and ventilation inside the house. They have the common area for their kids to play, for them to interact with their kids, the common space that bond their family together. Have you noticed that that's something we don't really have in our shop house? So good design, meaning if you have a good design, meaning you have a good life. That's why good design us back. So designer is very powerful. They have the power to design your living experience. They design where you eat, where you sleep, where you cook, and where you go to the toilet. You have to agree with the designer. You cannot design the kitchen here and go to eat at the bathroom, right? So they are very powerful. That's why you need a good design. This is one example of the shop house in Singapore. It's a heritage shop house. So they cut the middle part of the house and make it a garden. So it's very recognized, and they provide green space, and they connect the indoor, outdoor together. So there's so many ways that you can make our living environment become more healthy and more comfortable. So there are a lot more benefits natural lighting and ventilation is not only beneficial for your health and overall well-being, it also makes the space more spacious in terms of design and cut down the electricity bill, right? When you use a lot of natural lighting and ventilation, you don't really have to turn on the light or air conditioner. Moreover, according to research, daylight can improve children's learning ability up to 15%. So the same applies to productivity of the employee inside the office. What I'm talking today is not only about the house, it's about all the indoor space you are going to stay 90% of your time. So design is not only a visual thing, it's not only about the look, it's a tool to enhance our humanity. So what we design us back, meaning if you have a good design, you probably live in the space that is healthiest. And in conclusion, if we cannot spend all the time outdoor, why not improve our indoor living environment? And this is not only about us, it's also the coming generation. You have heard about the speech earlier, the generation alpha, or the screen time. So design really matters for our indoor generation. Thank you.